turning now to our third presenter, still with the SADC Youth Forum, the head of the NTD's malaria task force, and dengue is included in that, is Maximillian Godwin. I'd had the pleasure of meeting with Maximillian, engaging with him about a year and a half ago, and we were discussing really and putting in a southern Tanzanian education awareness kind of program, which he was actually running at the time, around dengue, going into schools and going into various universities and teaching about transmission and that type of thing, and what youth could do at that time. So I think you've got a wealth of grassroots experience, Maximillian. I think we're very honored to have you present this bit. So over to you, and I'll hand the floor over to you.
So thank you so much, and I'm so happy that everyone here has joined to call for the global concentration of our country, that we now need to focus on ending dengue as one of the neglected tropical disease, but also welcoming the World Dengue Day, which is very important to our countries, especially in our especially in our SADC region here in Africa. So we are so happy to be part of this, and I'm glad to share with you some of the inputs from us youth, especially in African countries based in our SADC region. So I think our regional coordinator has tried to take you around to understand what the SAI of SADC is. So SAI of SADC is our regional youth body for youth and youth organization in our SADC region. And now, hopefully, after I'm repeating, you can grab our concept well. So during the second Youth Forum Declaration, among other resolutions, the young people led by the Able Health Committee called the member states to effectively comply to the new WHO NTDs roadmap. 2021 being the momentous years for NTDs, SADC youth showed an example by leading a special campaign aiming to increase the awareness of the NTDs to the SADC member states, communities, via several platforms. On 28th January, during the World NTDs Day, SAI of SADC made a statement bolding the launch of the new NTD roadmap and committed to establish the SADC Youth Task Force on NTDs as a better way to inform youth and associate youth in combating NTDs in the SADC region. SAI of SADC Youth Task Force on NTDs is a group of young people under the SADC Youth Health Committee from all SADC member states assembled to address the neglected tropical diseases. So why did we decided to form this task force? So that we can now see the reasons for forming the task force on NTDs to address all neglected tropical diseases, including dengue. So the first thing was to highlight areas of NTDs that need the most and immediate attention. Why we decided to form our task force? So the reason for forming task force as follows. One was to highlight areas of NTDs that the most and immediate attention. Let me repeat here, highlighting areas of neglected tropical diseases that need the most and immediate attention. We all agree here today that dengue, as one of the neglected tropical diseases, need the most and immediate attention from everyone in our society, from everyone in our country. So to increase the health committee focus on NTDs. So we wanted why we formed this, because we wanted our committee of the health committee to increase the focus on fighting NTDs, but also to increase the efficiency of combating all neglected tropical diseases. And the last thing was to increase the chance to concentrate on major areas of interest. So why we formed our task force was also to increase this. Now, engaging the communities. Now, how do we engage the communities? The first people that we think we need to engage them are youth. Considering youth take big numbers, especially in our SADC Africa, in our SADC region. For example, in Africa, in SADC region, 60% of everyone here is youth. So if we include youth, if we engage youth, we are pretty sure that everyone in the society is going to be sensitized with the areas of dengue and what everyone can do. But we also plan to engage individuals directly affected by neglected tropical diseases. In our African countries, we know some of our friends, some of our colleagues that have suffered dengue and other neglected tropical diseases. So we want to discuss with them to understand from their perspectives and their experience of suffering dengue, how it was, what should be done, and kind of thing. And the third thing is those working with those affected with NTDs. We know that there are healthcare personnel that are working on daily basis to ensure that they are managing dengue patients and other neglected diseases patients. So engaging them gives us knowledge on how to prioritize our actions, on how to better send our focus. And the third thing is government officials. We really understand that everything needs a political will. So if we need the political will, that means we need the government officials to be in front lines and to be engaged. The third thing is partner organizations. There are many organizations in our countries that are working around dengue areas. So we really need to involve them. And the last part, to engage stakeholders, including member states and partner organizations. One thing for sure is that, for example, last month we as SADC, we were having this kind of consultation meetings with the Parliamentarians Caucus on NTDs, especially here in our country, to assess their interest and ways that they can influence policies around neglected tropical diseases. So we understand that with their position, they can help us to penetrate many of the agendas and to increase the ministerial concentration around dengue and other neglected tropical diseases. But we also look to involve business leaders, clergy and other faith leaders, local and state officials, people having high standings in the community, people having access to money and resources, people with power, people with access to target population. So we believe that if we engage even this kind group of people, we will be in a position that everyone in society to understand the areas of dengue and other neglected tropical diseases. Yes, now what have we done so far? I would like to take you around on things that we at SADC Youth, we have did for the time being. For example, we have been conducting awareness campaigns, and that has been seen also through our media platform. So we have been doing media platform engagement and sending awareness on that. But we really understand that most of the affected with these dengue and other neglected diseases mostly are those living in societies, in local societies. So what we have been doing, using local radios and local televisions that we believe that we can reach the targeted audience. But more to that, we have been doing these outreach programs. And here I would like to tell you one thing, that especially here in my region where I'm staying, in the southern part of our country, I have been visiting schools, and we have these dengue clubs in our schools. So it helps to activate our students to understand that they are in a position to fight dengue. For example, I've been telling them that the approach that we are using to fight other most vector-borne diseases like malaria, we should also use the same approach in fighting dengue. So we have been educating them, letting them aware of what is dengue, how is it transmitted, and everything. So we are pretty sure that our societies are doing that. And as I've been going to the schools to visit them, you see the level of understanding among the students is growing, and they can now tell you different stories. So they really understand dengue, and we are pretty sure in all schools here in our southern region, they really understand what is dengue. They really understand what is dengue and every aspect of dengue, and they are really they are taking precautions to ensure that they are not suffering dengue. Yes, now let's try to see challenges around dengue disease. So through our activities that we as SADC, we have been doing in our 16 countries, and especially here in Tanzania, as I've been doing and as I've seen people doing, we have seen the following challenges. First one is awareness gap. People confuse dengue with malaria. So people really fail to differentiate. But Also, there is the challenge in data gap. So if you'd like to find cases of dengue, if you'd like to find how far dengue has affected people, there is data gap, but also there is misdiagnosis in healthcare facilities. So in our healthcare facilities, dengue is totally misdiagnosed. You can find that doctors sometimes they prescribe for a dengue patient, you may find them prescribing as a malaria patient. So there is a really problem in diagnosis and also mismanagement. So you can find that these dengue patients, they are totally misdiagnosed and ending up receiving treatments for the things that they are not suffering, but also unskilled healthcare professionals. So you may find that most and many of the healthcare professionals do not really understand, do not really have enough skills on managing dengue cases or understanding or differentiating that this is malaria, this is dengue. So there is still a problem with that. But also a less availability of medication for dengue. I've gone through different healthcare facilities and I've never came across came across with treatment for dengue. So I think there is a big challenge in availability for medication for dengue. And also we do not have dengue vaccination or vaccination program for dengue. I think that's the other problem around dengue. And as we are calling for World Dengue Day, we really need to think of ensuring that we are now focusing also with dengue vaccination programs. Also, now let's try to see the opportunities that we may try to harness around dengue. So here I've tried to show you some of the opportunities that I think we can try to harness them. One is awareness program. So we really need to invest on awareness program as we have been doing, especially in our SADC region. So knowing that there is a problem, knowing that there is a big problem in awareness programs. So what we have been doing is increasing the awareness through different approaches. So I think everyone in our SADC region now, we are calling them around to increase awareness programs. But second thing is research. So having dengue as a global burden, it's now we are welcoming for research research firms now to do a lot of research around dengue. But also we see an opportunity in training institutions to increase knowledge on that. But also in pharmaceutical industry, that means pharmaceutical industries now, they may support us in finding medications, vaccines for dengue. But also integrated approach, as we have seen that dengue is a vector-borne disease. So now we may try that. To see if we can align it with other diseases procedures that are doing. For example, there is high concentration for malaria because we have seen it killing many people. Now we need to see an integrated approach because it's a vector-borne disease, malaria is a vector-borne disease. So other issues, other ways that we are using in fighting malaria, the same ways I believe we can use in fighting dengue, like use of nets and kind of thing. Yes. Now, on my closing remarks, I think we need to influence and increase the country ownership. For example, us in our country now, we are us in our country in Tanzania, and we are working it in all SADC region. What we are working now is to ensure that as youth, we influence our ministries of health to prioritize research around dengue, to prioritize their concern around dengue and other neglected diseases. So on my closing remarks, I would really like to ask everyone us here to remain committed in research, to remain committed in giving awareness, to remain committed and ensuring that the researchers around dengue, the awareness around dengue is there. And we call for World Dengue Day. What I believe is that having a World Dengue Day will increase concentrations and the government's efforts on fighting dengue, as we have seen now, it's the fastest growing vector-borne diseases. So many people will save many lives, and we will ensure that the health of everyone is is in our priorities. Yes. So I'm calling everyone to share the World Dengue Day campaign and sign the petition, and make sure that you share through your connections, and everyone should be aware that we need to sign for World Dengue Day petition, calling for the global health leaders to think of this, and I personally welcome a World Dengue Day, and thank you so much.